Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is 903 Sports. I am your host, Cameron Brown, joined by the boys, Hunter Shattuck, Mason Cudd, Jeffrey, and Jacob Yeager. And folks, spirits could not be lower on the night at 903 HQ. My Vols bounced in the second round. Hunter's Bears bounced in the second round. Cud's Tide bounced in the first round. And then the Jaeger's Horns bounced in round two. All of our teams are out. It was a fun weekend, March Madness. You got to love it, but all of our teams are done, not even making the second weekend. So we'll open the show with a little bit of mourning. I won't take up too much of anybody's time because no one listening to this is a Vols fan. Everyone's probably laughing at me because of all the trash that I talked about. Cud's trash bum Tide basketball team. And then danced all over Kentucky's parade in their funeral after they lost to St. Peter's on Friday, and then Tennessee turns around and gets beat. So I deserve it. It's karma. Cuz Bama buddies are dancing on my funeral, rightfully so. And what sucks about Tennessee losing is they didn't even play that bad. They really didn't. Michigan played really well, and that was a scary thing about Michigan being 11 seed. I didn't really think they belonged in the tournament resume wise, but they've gone out and proved it, and they've won 2 tournament games. And who knows if they can beat Nova this week. I mean, Michigan played well. They made enough shots. Hunter Dickinson's unbelievable. He's a problem. You got a 7-footer that can make threes. I mean, stretches the floor like that. That's tough. So Tennessee Vols are out. I will say this, and then I'll let Hunter talk about his Baylor Bears. Cud, Melissa owes me a car. I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I expect that car soon. I'm selling it immediately.
Pay off your debt.
Yeah. I'm selling it immediately and putting it all on Vols Natty 2023 football.
Wow, that's bold. Oh, that's super. That's real bold.
We're a football school now,
man.
But, Tennessee's out. My teams that I picked for this our pod game was horrible. Only have one team left. We'll get on that in a little bit. I told everyone before picking my bracket that has 3 Final Four teams out: Auburn, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Don't listen to my bracket. I know way too much about college basketball, and I do horrible every year. It makes no sense. It's sad. My champion never makes it to the Sweet 16. You never take a team that wins your conference tournament. They lose every year. I did it again with Tennessee. I did it last year with Illinois. Both were out by the first weekend. Hunter, I'll give you the floor and your eulogy for Baylor basketball. No repeat this year for the Bears. Great comeback, but not enough in overtime.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking after the game about whether I would have preferred us just to, not come back. Don't give me any hope, right? Like it was an embarrassing game for the first 30 minutes up until about the 10 or 11 minute mark in the second half when Brady Manick got ejected. It was really sad. I was kind of bummed. Spirits were low. I was just kind of sitting on the couch, and Samantha was over there like, are you okay? Of course I'm not okay. We're down by 25 to 9 seed North Carolina, or 8 seed North Carolina. Are they an 8 or 9?
8.
They're an 8.
8. Okay, yeah, doesn't matter. They're good. And it's funny, going into the game, I texted you, Cam, and I said, if we can handle Brady Manick, we'll be all right. I didn't count on RJ Davis going for 30.
Manick also had 28, so they did.
Yeah, but he didn't start playing good basketball until we had to account for Davis. Once we had to account for a guy that really, frankly, isn't that good of a basketball player, then Brady Manick showed up, and then he elbowed Jeremy Sohan in the face, and then he got ejected. The comeback was incredible. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. Manick got ejected. We made the 2 free throws, then got back-to-back steals with back-to-back threes on the next 2 possessions. And it went from that. Exactly. And I mean, still, it was a 16, 17-point game at that point with 10 minutes to go. I mean, you still have a long ways to go. And we were benefited by, I think their other guard, Love, fouled out. And so they're already a thin rotation, and so we had some things go our way. We had some very generous calls, some charges that could have gone either way. And, I was texting the group about how embarrassed I was and about how mad I was at Scott Drew that the guys didn't show up. And, I was being a negative fan like I do. And, the way that we came back was pretty awesome. It wasn't even that great of basketball. There was just so much effort, like there was a bunch of missed
grit.
shots. Yeah, too much grit. I mean,
Too much grit.
James Akinjo, for as bad as he is at shooting the basketball, he has so much heart. He is. I mean, you said it perfectly, Cam. He's a poor man's Russell Westbrook.
Yep.
I mean, he can't shoot a lick, but he thinks he can.
Yeah.
But my goodness, he plays hard, and that was fun to watch. Having his forced overtime. And here's something that I don't think I would have ever done. So I don't want to criticize Scott Drew for this, but we were getting destroyed in normal run of play basketball, where you set up the half court defense, and Carolina was killing us. But then when we started pressing, they couldn't handle us. They were just passing it to Baycott under the basket, and he was turning it over like candy. And I almost would have stuck with that press in overtime. As soon as we went to overtime and went back into our half court defense, they picked us apart again. And so I would have considered sticking with the press, especially in hindsight after we lose the game. But as soon as we took the pressure off and let them get the ball down the court, they started picking us apart again. And so I don't know I'm not smart enough basketball wise to know what they were doing, but yeah, it was a rough day. I haven't really recovered from it. It's we did our top 5 worst days in sports about a month or so ago. This weekend was as bad as it's ever been, except for the 2011 World Series. So I haven't felt that low since David Freese ended me in Game 6. And it was tough. And to make matters worse,
we're not going to talk fly ball.
David Freese hit the ball. Nelson Cruz dropped the fly ball.
Jerome Tang, our assistant head coach, he's been there since 2003. And personally, I think he is the reason Baylor basketball is the way it is, as much as Scott Drew. You know how I feel about Scott Drew. I don't think he's the greatest of coaches, but Jerome Tang is going to Kansas State. So he has turned down many, many, many head coaching jobs over the past few years, and now he's officially gone. So I'm officially worried. I'm afraid that we might struggle with recruiting in the future. So I'm on the sad train right now. So with that, I'm done with my therapy.
I've been pouting for about 4 days.
Yep.
I laid on my deck for about 45 minutes after Tennessee won. You can ask the Jaegers. I was in spirits were very low, very, very low. So I'll let Jeff and Jacob talk a little about Horns Hoops while we're in our therapy session here. Texas got robbed in that game. I mean, I think the final free throw count was 44-12.
46 to 11.
46 to 11. And that's just insane. I mean, Texas was fouling. Purdue's bigger. I mean, that's to be expected a little bit. But there were so many ticky-tack foul calls early, and Texas was getting no calls when they were driving to the paint. If you're going to call a tight game like that, you got to call it both ways, and they weren't. And Texas played really well outside of their 9-minute scoring drought in the first half, which was horrible. Then they finished strong the first half, and they were in the game the entire second half. And that kind of sucks for Purdue because Purdue's a great team. Jaden Ivey's a great player, not taking anything away from Purdue. But referees were terrible. They've been terrible the whole tournament, and they were especially bad in this Texas game. So, Jeff, I'll let you go ahead.
I want to start off by saying that game, as much as the loss, a few pods ago when we talked about our top 5 worst sports days of the year, and I said in that top 5 is the day that inevitably Texas loses in March Madness in dramatic fashion. And once again, they lost in dramatic fashion, being down 18 to come all the way back to only down a handful of points at half, and then going back down and then bringing it all the way back to 3 with like 2 minutes left. And then this and that. I mean, dramatic fashion once again, heart up, down, the whole game. I was actually on a plane on a flight watching the game, and I had to keep from yelling like let's go and there's no way with 100 people around me at 10 p.m. at night because a bunch of them were trying to sleep. But
I've been yelling.
Dude, the stewardess caught me a couple times watching the game while they were handing out drinks and snacks and stuff, and she was like, man, you must really like this team. And I was like, yeah, I love the Horns. And so you want to know something? I am so proud of Texas. Despite losing, that is the first time I feel like I've watched a Texas basketball game where they have fought and clawed and bullied people all the way to the final buzzer. I mean, they did not give up for a second.
Again, they
So
put a lot of grit, just like Baylor. A lot of grit
a
from that Orange squad.
ton of grit. So as sad as it was to see them lose, honestly, it just makes me really excited for them to come back next year.
Yeah, there's something I
Jake.
want to add on that point. I've kind of defended Texas a little bit this season, which is something I don't usually do. After, let's see, it was after Baylor went into Austin and beat Texas. I think it was Cameron that was saying how soft they were and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, I don't know, man. That team showed some heart. Like Baylor went in there and played one of our best games of the season. And Texas didn't just lay down. I mean, it would be easy to just lay down in this situation, and they kept fighting. And that's not something you've been able to say about a Texas team in football or basketball over the past decade.
No.
And so I really think this could be the year that we're seeing the beginning of the transformation. You know, we're starting to see the rise, which breaks my heart. I'm so glad they're not in the Big 12 after the next couple of years. Just good riddance. Man. Yeah, but anyway, I really do think that you're onto something with that, Yeg, about how they do look like they have some heart, which is a nice change.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Jacob.
and they could have easily folded after all those terrible foul calls and just getting killed.
Oh, yeah. No, what was it?
They did.
Purdue was in the bonus plus for the last 11 and a half minutes of the second half.
It was insane. Jacob, I'll give you the floor to close it up on season.
I mean, Jeff really said everything needed to be said there. It was a great game. I will add this on to the grit of Texas basketball. It looked like they really did believe that they can beat good teams, which I'm not sure is something that's come out until Chris Beard showed up. And hopefully the football team can start to believe it too, because they're not quite there yet. But they really did think that they can beat Purdue and hang with the really good top seeds, which is something that's really promising for the next couple of years.
Yeah,
I'm just watching Andrew Jones. That kid's a ball player.
Yep.
Oh,
you talk about
great
great.
story
I hope
too.
Andrew Jones. He's got another year of eligibility. I hope he uses it and comes
wants to
back,
play.
but he might go to the league.
He's been in college for a while. He can
6 years,
but that is crazy. So that's Baylor, Texas, and Tennessee. Cut. I'll give you the floor to talk about Bama. I've got a pod idea. I'll just throw it out there now for a segment. I want to do a grit scale. Grit.
Wow.
Grit. Baylor showed a lot of grit. Texas. A team that showed the lowest amount of grit in the entire tournament would be the Alabama Crimson Tide.
What's the opposite?
Grit in that
What's the
basketball
opposite of grit?
No grit.
No.
Belly.
Trash. So, Cut, I'll give you the floor and talk about Bama.
All right. So 2 minutes into the game, it completely threw us off. We lost our best player.
Yeah, all kidding aside, that hurt bad.
That hurt real bad, not only just having him on the floor, but it probably completely changed our entire game plan. So then that's from the very start of the game. So that hurt, to say the least. And then what really hurt was Cormac Ryan. That guy averaged 9 points a game the whole year. The guy drops 29 points. He missed 3 times, and 2 of those misses were from 3. I mean, the guy literally had you couldn't even play any better. So that didn't help either. So between those 2 things alone, I mean, we just lost. I mean, we were just thrown off from the start. And honestly, I'm happy that I can't watch any more of this season of this roller coaster of a team. So, but it sucks going out first round. And Notre Dame, I mean, I'll give credit to them. They played Texas Tech down to the wire the next round too. So I mean, it's not like we lost to a bad team at all. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about my club.
But I want to add a couple of things. So you mentioned how Notre Dame played well, and is the ACC better than we thought?
Unfortunately,
I mean, they have 3 teams in the Sweet 16, and Notre Dame put up a fight against Tech. No offense, Cut, but they kind of wiped the floor with Alabama, and they beat a good Rutgers club, and that Rutgers club played well. So the ACC's had a good showing, and that's something I did not think I was going to say. And then the second thing I want to add, just to kind of wrap up this therapy session here, is that it's March, and if you run into a team, no matter what their seed is or what their record was, and that team has a player that gets hot or a couple players that get hot, you're going to lose. And
happens every year.
like you said, I think Cameron, your Vols are probably the best example because y'all played well against Michigan. I mean,
I
it's
don't know
not.
about well. We didn't play. We missed a lot of threes, a lot of open shots.
I've seen Tennessee play.
bad.
No, well, Tennessee's not a shooting club. That's not how you beat teams. So
We have been shooting it well though.
Yeah, my point is, all of our teams lost to good performances, and that's something that you can, that should lift our spirits a little bit.
I'm still sad.
Let's move on. Dang it!
All right,
Join the club.
I want to talk about one other thing that we were just talking about, the conference performances. The exact opposite of what we talked about what we thought was going to happen. The Big Ten had 9 teams get in. They have 2 left. And one of those you can put an asterisk by because the referees had the absolute farm on Purdue in that game against Texas. And then Michigan, who was, I thought, the worst team in the tournament, they've played really well to their credit. I know Hunter picked them for his group, but
we all knew that Michigan could show up. That's the thing.
They could. But they also could have shown up and got beat by 25.
Exactly.
Like if they go get beat by 30 against Villanova, I won't.
Nobody's surprised.
Exactly. You just don't know what you're going to get from them. So we didn't see that coming. The ACC, everyone was crapping on the ACC all year long, and then they get 3 teams in the Sweet 16. And then, like you said, Notre Dame bowed out very respectfully in the tournament. They had a great run. Yeah, and they got 4 in the tournament. ACC, they get 5.
I think just 4.
I think they got 4.
No, 5 because Virginia Tech.
And Virginia Tech, and then Texas shot lights out against Virginia Tech. They just ran into a better Texas team.
Yeah.
And then how about the SEC? Horrible performance from the SEC. LSU out first round. Kentucky out first round against St. Peter's. We'll get to that later. Alabama play out first round against Notre Dame. Tennessee out second round against an 11 seed. Auburn out second round against a 10 seed.
Not surprised.
All we got left is Arkansas, and all Arkansas had to do is beat Vermont and New Mexico State. Dude, New Mexico State, all club. I mean, that's all. And now they get Gonzaga, and they're going to get bounced. They got no chance against Gonzaga. I'll say that it's March, but
that's not true.
Hey, they got a great chance.
I don't like the way Arkansas is playing.
I think that game will be closer than you think.
Yeah. Think so?
What's the spread right now?
I think it's like a 9-point spread. Arkansas is not
-9. That is free money.
But SEC 1 team left, and the ACC has 3, and then it's kind of a mixture after that. Big 12's had a really nice tournament. They got everybody out of the first round. And then Texas bowed out, and Baylor bowed out, which leaves Kansas, Iowa State,
Texas Tech.
And
TCU also got beat by Arizona, but they put up a fight.
I want to talk about that game right
But in OT.
What a basketball game. We talk about grit. TCU, number 1 on the grit scale.
Yeah.
They should have won that game. Arizona hit that 3 to tie it.
Well, I tell you what, man, you look at a 1 versus 9 game and you see they went to overtime and you think, oh, well, the 1 seed probably didn't play well. Arizona showed up and TCU went right with them. I mean, that's not your typical 1-9 game where, like, you look at Baylor, Carolina. Baylor did show up. Like, we just didn't show up. But that's not what happened with the Arizona game. I mean, that was incredible. That was such a good basketball game.
I tell you what, that's probably my favorite part of March Madness is seeing all these random teams show up and they're like, we don't care who is the team across the court from us. We want to play some ball.
No one's scared of anybody. It's what St. Peter's coach keeps talking about. We'll touch on them a little bit, but they're not scared. He said all of our kids think they should be playing at Kentucky. So why would we be scared to play Kentucky? Which is true, man. Those kids aren't scared of nobody. A bunch of 17, 18, 19-year-old kids. I mean, they're not scared. So just one more thing on TCU. They went down 9 with about 6 minutes left. And we've seen it forever in sports. An underdog gets the Arizona big team pulls away, go up 9. Okay, it's over. TCU's going to get killed now. And they went on a 12-0 run right after that. They weren't going away. Eddie Lampkin Jr., the big kid of TCU. That kid's a stud, man.
He's not, though. That's the thing. He's not.
He put up 30 there.
He played the game of his life.
He did. That was awesome. And TCU got robbed in that game, man. Miles got mugged at half court at the end of that game. And the Arizona kid just draws a blank and just tries to dunk it as time runs out. But Miles got mugged at half court. It was terrible no call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess I love that too. It's what's great about the tournament. You got teams like TCU, St. Peter's, Miami in the Sweet 16. I know you want to touch on
that. Who saw that?
About Auburn getting bounced.
I did.
So, wild tournament. I mean, Hunter, I want to, before I let Ye gloat on his Auburn take, Hunter, just give everyone the update on our standings from our pick 'em last week and let everyone know how terrible I am at this.
All right. So I'm just going to run down real quick. Again, you get 1 point. So this past weekend, you got 1 point for a first round victory and then 2 points for a round of 32 victory. Okay. So Cud has 12, Jacob with 11, Jeff with 8, Hunter with 7, Cam with 6. And Cam only has one team remaining, and that is Arkansas playing against Gonzaga. So it's likely that Cameron will have 0 teams remaining. So yeah, Cud is in the driver's seat. He's the only person with 4 teams remaining. So and he's in good shape. And one of those teams is guaranteed to lose because he has both Texas Tech and Duke, and they play against each other. But that also means he has a guaranteed team in the Elite Eight. So
3 points coming my way.
Yep.
I quit. I'm bowing out of the game, so therefore
So you just quit before you can actually get beat. Save face. That's smart.
I'm bowing out. This I suck. So Yeg, I'm gonna give you the floor. Like Hunter said earlier this week, no one has more blind takes that end up becoming correct like you, Yeg.
They're not blind. They're not blind.
And then their superstar. Their superstars.
What did you say, Cud?
What did you
Blind with the capital B.
No.
They're
only a quarter blind.
He's probably the best player in this tournament. He plays the worst game of his life against Miami.
Jeff
bounces Auburn. So Yeg, go ahead and gloat.
Jeff, why don't you remind people what your take was like about a month or so ago? Your first appearance on the pod. Let's just start from there.
When Auburn was ranked AP poll #1 in the country, everyone was raving about them to be the favorite to win March Madness and win the championship. And I went in and I looked at their stats, looked at their play record, looked at everything. And I said, this stock is super, super, super overvalued. And I said, they're bad on the road. They don't play well when they're not at home. They're squeezing out bad wins against bad teams. And I said, they will not make it past the second round of the tournament. They will lose second round. And what I said came to fruition.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back at you.
Okay,
I'm gonna go back at you.
And look, I know y'all think this is a blind take, but I've got a lot of stuff to back up what I said.
I know you can, and so, but I'm gonna say that you could have made that same argument about Kentucky, about Tennessee, about Purdue, about Wisconsin, about Michigan, about any other team in a Power 5 conference, because no team goes on the road in a Power 5 conference and plays well. That's part of college basketball. Auburn was still winning on the road. Now, so obviously you were right. So, and I was wrong about Auburn. Hand up, I was wrong. I thought they were better than they were. I thought Jabari was going to come to the tournament and have a great tournament. He didn't. And their guards weren't as good as I thought they were. So hand up, I was wrong. However, I think it's unfair a little bit to gloat that you know, like, oh, well, they weren't playing well on the road, so therefore I knew they were going to get beat. Nobody plays well on the road. That's part of college hoops. And that's part of what's so great about this sport is that nobody plays well on the road. So you can't just say, they struggle on the road, so they're going to get beat. I mean, Tennessee, I would argue, is a worse road team than Auburn. And no offense, Cam, but it's true. And so, I mean, you could have made the same exact argument at Tennessee or Kentucky or
Arkansas.
Heck, Baylor's not that good on the road.
Yeah, but Tennessee wasn't ranked AP poll #1.
I mean, it's fair.
Tennessee, I mean, did Tennessee have the same odds all year to win the national championship that Auburn did? I get where you're coming from.
But Baylor
Hunter.
did.
Like I really
Kentucky did.
No, absolutely. No, Baylor. Don't get me wrong, Hunter. I thought Baylor was an Elite 8 shoo-in. Like the fact that they lost second round is just as surprising to me as it is to everyone else. Like you would never have in a million years heard me say, hey, Baylor's going to get beat second round.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But my point is
but Baylor also, the thing about Baylor, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of guys that played together in the tournament this year were also there last year, right?
Not really. No, we lost 4 starters from last year's team.
But I mean, were most of are a bunch of them freshmen, or were some of them like freshmen last year that were on the bench and are now enrolled
two of our 6 rotation guys were freshmen, but yeah, we brought back 3 rotation guys, a transfer, and 2 freshmen this year. But anyway,
Okay.
We're getting off your point. We're getting off your point.
The point being is Auburn was shaky all year. If you go back and look, yes, they were 19-0, whatever they were at, but at that time, their road wins were super, super shaky. Like, and the thing is, the reason I want to say this is because other teams that are good on the road, like Gonzaga, all those other teams that are highly ranked.
Do you know how many road games Gonzaga played before conference? Zero.
Granted.
Zero. The only road games they played all year were in the West Coast Conference. So don't give me Gonzaga.
Yes, but granted, those teams are favorited by 22, 25 points, and they cover.
Yeah.
So on the road with Auburn this year, on the road, their last game of the season, they won versus Mississippi State in overtime. Granted, they beat them by 13 in overtime, but Mississippi State was only a 4-point dog. Mississippi State, I believe, ended the year 8-10 in conference play.
Because it's hard to win on the road in college basketball. That's my whole point. There's a reason Vegas only had them as a 4-point dog.
Yes. But what I'm saying is they were 8-10 in the conference, and I'm not done. In OT, they were up 12 at half and let Mississippi State come back and send it to OT.
Did you watch that game?
Example number 2. They went to Georgia and only won by 2. Auburn was 16-point favorites, won by 2. Georgia was 1-17 in conference play.
Did you watch that game? Georgia played the game of their lives. They did not miss.
But good teams win, and they win no matter what. And they win
Auburn
with
won.
emphasis. They win with emphasis.
That's not true.
Example number 3, went to Missouri, was a 12.5-point favorite and won by 1 point, 55-54. They were 13-point favorites. Missouri was 5-13 in conference play this year. Went to Ole Miss. They won by 9, but they were 7-point favorites.
I get it. They had a bad road record.
14.
You don't have to go through every game. This is terrible.
Bad road record. They just barely beat these bad teams.
Yeah. So
and that's what I'm saying is when you go on the road, you're supposed to be in conference play during the regular season. The teams that are for real, you can feel it, right? They go and it doesn't matter who they're playing, where they're playing.
That's
they are
not
just
true.
Ready to rock people's heads off.
That is not true. That's not true.
Okay.
See,
they also lost in Tennessee. They lost at Arkansas and they lost at Florida.
I don't think I want to jump.
Here's the thing. You know who St. Louis is?
The Billy
college team, St. Louis.
Absolutely.
What do you think? What do you think the spread was when Auburn went to St. Louis?
-6.
8.5. Who knows?
St. Louis. Everyone take a guess. Take a guess.
-6.
Probably double digits.
Probably
double digits. 6, 11. You said 8.5. Cam was the closest. They were -5.5. So
St. Louis is a ball club.
Vegas has my back. They knew that Auburn was not the team that you thought they were.
know it's hard to win on the road.
Then they went to South Florida, 13-point favorites, only won by 6. What I'm saying is Auburn all year.
Though they won all these games.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Auburn all year showed the fact that if some random little team that they were supposed to kill, they had a chink in the armor where they would let these teams get in there and play ball. And I said, at some point, this is going to bite them in the butt, and they are going to start losing all these coin flip games.
Okay, time out. Let me jump in. So
Hunter is completely right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna side with Ye just a touch.
I'm with Jeff here too.
I'm mainly with Hunter, but I'm gonna just side with Ye slightly. From the time when Auburn was number 1 in the country, they were fraudulent. They were not the
That's
number
true.
1 team.
That's true.
Their
That's where you're
guards
right.
Are terrible. Terrible. Now, so what killed Auburn in the tournament was Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler played the worst 2 games they had all season long.
Which happens.
That team was going to go as far as Jabari and Walker were going to take them. They were not a deep team. So is Auburn, were they a little fraudulent? Yeah, they kind of showed that down the stretch. Didn't play well down the stretch. Got bounced early in the SEC tournament. And they got smoked by Miami. And one of my buddies that I work with is a big Miami fan. He said, man, Auburn's a bad matchup for us because we have no size. And Miami bullied them all game. You got Kessler and foul
Well,
trouble.
the guys with size on Auburn just didn't show up, so that played right into Miami's hand.
Exactly. They had to rely on their guards, and they played
Which they don't have any.
The last 2 months of the year, Auburn's guards were horrible. So, I mean, Hunter is right. It is. I don't want to say impossible, but teams just don't win on the road in college basketball. That's why they weight wins for the tournament resume so highly that, that's the only reason that Rutgers even made the tournament, because they had some great road wins that got them from the dead from their bad.
Right. And what I'm saying is I'm not expecting Auburn to win every game they play by 40, right? They're playing competitive teams that have skill. But what I'm saying is you have teams like Gonzaga who come here to BYU. Let me finish. They come here to BYU. They're 12.5-point favorites, and they win by 38. And it's just stuff like that where you see it and you're like, that team came here to win.
It's BYU. That's their one difficult road matchup. Them and St. Mary's. Anybody can get up to play one game if that's the only tough game you play conference.
Did Georgia won 6 games all year. What I'm saying is everyone was high on Auburn. And I said for a long time, this stock is super, super overvalued. And it would not shock me if they go out second round. So I said they are going out second round.
You're right. And I give you all.
He's right.
I give you all the credit in the world for being right. However, I disagree with the method that you got there. I think that your logic is the most flawed of any logic I've ever seen in my life. Go through.
Wow.
Go through.
I think 99% of statisticians would agree with me.
Listen, Jeff. Listen to me. If you can go through a Power 5 school, not Gonzaga, because they didn't play a difficult road game all year and they still lost one. Okay. Go through a Power 5 school and show me a team that consistently covers on the road, and I'll say you're right. If you can't do it though, consistently beats the teams they're supposed to comfortably. You can't do it. It doesn't exist. It does not exist. That's my point.
I've got an idea, actually.
Did we settle the argument?
Yeah, we're done.
You were 100% right.
No,
your method was just wrong.
Yeg deserves applause for calling.
Absolutely.
It. Called it on this pod as soon as we round of applause for Yeg. As soon as we started talking college basketball, Jeffrey said
Auburn's fraudulent.
And they got beat.
He was dead right.
I don't think that means Auburn had a failure of a season. They still were SEC champ regular season, which holds some weight.
I don't know, man. If I was an Auburn fan, I'd be a little pissed. You just had one of the.
Oh, absolutely.
In my opinion, they had the best player in college basketball, and they didn't make it out of the first weekend.
He was bad in that game, and
yeah, real bad.
So I want to move on. We're running way low on time.
Yeah, sorry.
I want to talk a little bit about the matchups this weekend. So, Cut, I'll get you in here. What game are we looking forward to the most this weekend? We got 8 ball games, 4 Thursday and 4 on Friday. Which ones are we looking forward to the most?
To me, I think the main game, or the main 2 that we need to watch, is the Arizona-Houston game, because I think the winner of that game beats Villanova the next round. And then the other game is the Duke-Texas Tech game.
Yep.
I think that is the number 1 game to watch for right now. I think that's both of those teams are physical. They have size. It's an emotional run for Duke. Texas Tech, they've had an unreal year. I think that game is going to be the best game of the week.
Yeah, I think and Vegas agrees with you too, because they're both like 1 or 2 point spreads. So I mean, those are going to be
they're a coin flip game.
Yeah, Houston has played really well in this tournament.
Really well. So I think those 2 are definitely the games to watch. Now I think all the others are going to be great too, even though Vegas has higher lines and stuff like that. I think they're all going to be really good games. I don't see a 20-point loss, or I think Arkansas and St. Pete keeps it in single digits, but I don't know. We'll see.
I love that St. Pete team, man. They're awesome, and you let a team like that believe. I mean, they're obviously outplaying their talent right now. And Oral Roberts did the same thing last year. They were a bucket away from going to the Elite 8 and beating Arkansas. So who knows what St. Pete's going to do? They could come out and just shock the world again. They just don't have any size. Purdue is such a bad matchup for them. They have 2 7-footers. And they also have Jaden Ivey, who's the best player left in this tournament, in my opinion. Well, I'll take Paolo Banchero for Duke. And then Jaden Ivey too, maybe.
I might take Ivy, but
Ivy's so good, and that's a tough matchup for St. Peter's. But they got the magic, man.
I'm going to compare this to golf.
I have a comment.
Let me compare this to golf real quick, Jeff, and then I'll let you jump in. So, do you know when you have a really good round and you go out the next day, and if you birdie the first hole, you still got it, and you have the belief it goes right back up. But if you make a bad swing on that first hole, you're shooting 80 because doubt creeps in. Oh, maybe I'm not the same player I was yesterday. That's what's going to be this St. Peter's Ball Club this week. If they can get out and hang with Purdue, make a couple of buckets in the first 3 or 4 minutes, they're fine. That belief is going to skyrocket, and they're going to be the same ball club they were last weekend. But if they go out, they miss their first couple of shots, maybe have a couple of loose turnovers, they're toast.
I just don't know if
that might be a live play. First couple of minutes, see what they look like, and then make an exam from there.
Repeat first half could be a play there.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Sorry about that. Jump in.
So to follow up on find me a team in the Power 5 that covers on the road. No, because I'm telling you, Villanova.
That's not a Power 5 conference.
Yeah, it is.
Big East?
Big East?
Big 6. Power 6.
Whatever. The Big East was great all year. Great conference for basketball. Villanova was great on the road other than a handful of games where they played really good teams. I'm talking like UCLA, Baylor, like really, really good teams. Like beginning of the season when UCLA was ranked 2, when Baylor was ranked 5. Their one fluke was at Creighton. But outside of that, on the road, they covered a lot. In fact, there were some road games where they were dogs and actually ended up winning the game outright. So I'm telling you, this method that I'm talking about, it is not flawed. It's not like I will run statistics next year and I will tell you who is their foundation is built upon sand when it comes to the tournament.
So that's protest. I'm going to do this under protest. I think you might have found the one team that is not a Power 5 school that plays in the Big East. Is a great conference to watch. The quality of basketball is not all that great. There's Villanova, and then there's everybody else. Even though Providence won, Providence is not a great basketball team.
Respect my Friars, Hunter.
But here's the thing. Villanova was also never ranked number 1 in the country. And that's why I'm saying Auburn overvalued.
This argument is dead.
I'm not saying Auburn isn't a quality basketball team. I was saying they were
overvalued.
so overvalued, like beyond overvalued.
Gig, while you got the floor, why don't you tell everybody what game you're looking forward to watching the most this weekend?
You're just trying to get me off this rant. So
this is the topic we're on right now.
Okay.
This isn't the Gig Auburn podcast.
Look, the game I'm looking forward to watching the most in this Sweet 16, the game or the team? Because if it's the game,
both.
I am
both
blocking. If it's the game I'm looking forward to most, I am blocking my schedule for UNC UCLA. That is going to be a dog fight. I'm talking like, you want to talk about hand checking, like physical 90s basketball. I think they're going to let those boys play, UNC and UCLA, and they will play. Because UCLA, they're still thinking about what happened last year, and UNC is like, we had a shaky season all year long, and now we're rolling, so we want to keep rolling. And so that's the game I'm looking forward to watching the most. The team I want to watch most is the Houston Cougars. Now, I said before the tournament started that the Houston Cougars were for real, that they were a quality team to watch out for in the tournament to play. And here we are. And if they beat Arizona and get to the Elite Eight, let me take a look here. They play the winner of Michigan Villanova. So, I mean, they've had a tough road thus far. I mean, first round, obviously, Houston played UAB, which I don't know why anyone in their right mind thought UAB was going to win that game.
Houston did incredible in that game, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure. So they played just how they have all year long. And then they played Illinois, smoked them. I said that too. And now they play Arizona, and Vegas has my back on this. Arizona's only a 1.5 point favorite right now for being a 1 seed and Houston being a 5. You watch that Houston team, they're super athletic. Those guys can fly up and down the court. I mean, I always thought my grandpa was weird when I was younger because he would watch NBA players and he'd be like, man, these guys are just so athletic. And now I'm watching these kids in college that are just 4 or 5 years younger than I am. And I'm like, these guys are nuts. And Houston is one of those teams where I watch them and I'm like, these guys are nuts, what they can do, just the athleticism they have. So I'm telling you, Arizona is also uber athletic. That is going to be an athlete's game to watch on Thursday.
Yeah, Houston's they're the most athletic team in the tournament. I absolutely agree with that. That's going to be a really good game to watch. UCLA North Carolina is good as well because
they call me Litmus Test Jeff. I know what I see and call it how it is.
Jaquez being out for UCLA is going to be a problem for the Bruins.
I don't think he's going to be out.
I thought he banged up his ankle and he's doubtful for the game.
I saw him.
He left last game and it looked bad, but I don't know what his status is for this.
I saw a video of him walking onto the team plane today with no limp, no boot, no nothing.
Now that's huge for UCLA because I'll tell you something about this UCLA team. You can tell those boys are a tight knit group. Like they're hanging out together on Friday nights, going bowling and stuff. Like they like each other and they like.
I have a feeling they're not going bowling.
This ain't Provo.
Bowling, keep things rated. Keep things rated PG. They're going bowling and mini golfing.
Jeff, on that UNC UCLA game, it's either going to be incredible or a total dud because both of these teams can completely lay an egg. They're both feast or famine, but it has potential to be incredible.
Well, I think the thing is, great games are typically they have a common denominator in that both teams play with a lot of heart and they play 110%. And I think UNC and UCLA right now are the two teams playing like with everything they've got. And, that makes for really, really good basketball.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. Hunter, I want to get your take on this real quick. Sweet 16 is obviously the first day of the tournament's my favorite day, but the Sweet 16 is a really fun time because you still have it's the last time where you get multiple games on at once.
Yep.
You get the highest quality of basketball with the game still going on at the same time. Obviously, your highest quality ball is going to be during the Final Four, but it's just one game at a time. You get two at a time, 4 times, and then you get to Final Four championship and Elite Eight and all that. So I'm sad that the first 4 days are over. It's the best time of the year. Those 4 days, it's a great time. We had some awesome. I'll just kind of run through a quick recap of all the big highlights. St. Peter's 15 seed going to the Sweet 16. That team beat Kentucky in overtime too. Normally you see an underdog go to OT. What do I say about OT? It's where dogs
go to die.
Yeah, and they weathered the storm and won that game. Memphis Gonzaga was probably the highest quality basketball game of the tournament. Memphis looked unreal, and it's a shame that they were an 8 seed and had to draw Gonzaga in the second round. They were up 10 on Gonzaga, lost second half. You had, let's see, what else do we have?
Well, here's an interesting stat on St. Peter's. I know y'all were talking about, do they have a chance against Purdue? And I think they do. If you go back and look at their stats versus Kentucky, they shot 51% from the field and 53% from three. And so these guys, like they're quality shooters. Like even in the second game versus who did they play? Was it
Murray State?
I think they still shot like 50-something% from the field.
Yeah, but that's so unsustainable. That's what I'm concerned about.
But they only shot 35% from three, but they made 84% of their free throws as a team in that game. So this is a quality basketball team that it sounds like they're fundamentally sound. Like St. Peter's, it doesn't seem like they do a whole lot to collapse on themselves. And I think that's a quality you need versus Purdue because you've got guys like Edey and Ivy on Purdue who can just take over a ball game as a duo. But I think like you can also take advantage of Purdue because Ivy's a little wild. He is a freshman. He's a little wild. And Edey, he was getting bullied down there by Texas, by guys that were a good 7, 8, 9 inches shorter than he is. So I think if St. Peter's, if they keep the mistakes to a minimum, keep their fundamentals, stick to their plan, I think they can give a Purdue a run for their money.
Well, they're well coached. Their coach gets them up to play, and they ain't scared. Yeah. So the St. Peter, they'll be there to play. It's just can they contain the bigs of Purdue? So that'll be interesting to see. So I want to get everyone's pick to win it all. I want to say one more thing before we get to that. Providence Friars, Vegas, Ken Palm, all these stats nerds been doubting my Friars all year. All they do
Huge game.
All they do is win. They won the Big East regular season title. They did lay an egg in the tournament in a real bad game against Creighton. Watch out for them.
QT Pain.
Watch out for my
Pain.
Friars.
All they do is win.
All they do is win. All the Friars do.
Huge game for the Friars.
In Palm, you can shove your stats. Vegas, you can shove your stats. Friars are a club. Respect my Friars. So I want to get everyone's pick to win it all. Hunter, I'll start with you. 16 teams left. Who you got winning it all?
Well, I had Baylor over Villanova in my bracket. One of those teams is no longer with us, so I'm going to take Villanova.
Nova, love that pick. Colin Gillespie's playing as good as anybody in the country.
Yeah.
Cud, pick to win it all.
I got Arizona.
Arizona.
They're the most well-rounded right now.
I'll go ahead and throw my pick. I have Arizona as well, so they have no chance to winning the tournament. They'll get smoked by Houston Thursday now. Jeff, your pick.
I want to hear Jacob's pick first.
Jacob, your pick.
I had Villanova before the bracket started. I got him as my tournament champ, so I'm sticking with him.
Yeah. Good man.
That pick.
You are all wrong.
Ew.
The
The original
team that
pick?
is going no, listen, the team and it's not Gonzaga. Believe it or
What?
not, that's not who I'm saying. It's not the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Nope.
The team that I think is going to win the tournament from here on out is the Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah,
They are playing some ball.
that's a good take.
And they can beat Texas Tech and they can beat Gonzaga handily. Like they have the skill set and the players and the coach to do that. And listen to this, if they beat Texas Tech and then Gonzaga, Arkansas, the winner of that, they will play in the Final Four, whoever comes out of the UNC, UCLA, Purdue, St. Peter's region.
Peacock's
And so
Final
that-
Four, baby.
That would
I'll
be
be
amazing.
UCLA.
Hey, Jacob.
That would be
Jacob,
amazing.
what's the line in that Texas Tech Duke game?
Tech's favorite.
Second. It's 1 for Texas Tech.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not think Tech was going to be favored.
Duke and
I'm telling you, Duke
Right?
can
Man.
play some ball.
Wait, isn't AJ Griffin out?
they had some injuries. Keels got hurt too late in the game. I think.
Maybe that makes sense then.
So Duke
But I'm
is
telling you, those boys can play, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, they can beat anyone coming out of that Eastern region. I like Duke a lot, from what I've seen from them.
Yeah, they were my team to come out of that region. So I don't think that's a bad take.
And this is sports. So Coach K in his last year,
Yeah, it's just
I wouldn't be surprised if they won. It's sports.
imagine.
Right. What a story that would be.
All right, so we'll wrap up a little hoops talk. I want to dive in just a little NFL, and then we'll close it up this week. The NFL, man, it just will not give March Madness its time to shine. NFL news has been ridiculous lately. Deshaun Watson is back. He is now a Cleveland Brown, which means Baker is on his way out. Who knows where Baker's going to wind up, man? Because the Colts
Tough
is
to
in
see.
their position with Matt Ryan. I mean, where is Baker going to wind up? Seattle, maybe.
That's what everyone's saying.
I mean, it's crazy. And I'm not a big Baker guy. I don't think Baker's that good, but he did give Cleveland their first playoff appearance in God knows how long. So Browns fans owe Baker a thank you. They really do, because that franchise was garbage before he got there. Again, I think moving on from Baker's the right move if you're Cleveland and you get Deshaun Watson. So, Cut, I want to get your take. Do you agree? Is that the right move for Cleveland? Did they win this deal to get Deshaun Watson, or did they overpay for Deshaun with his pending legal stuff he's got going on?
So, to me, the thing that bothered me the most about this trade was Cleveland was talking about in weeks before the trade went down of how they didn't want Baker because of his lack of leadership and his off the field things, and thought that they needed a more mature quarterback. That's what they were saying weeks ago. Then they go out and trade for a guy that right now has got 22 sexual assault charges and hasn't
Counterproductive there. Yeah.
No, I'm saying, I mean, you want someone that's supposed to be your leader and doesn't have the off the field issues, and then you go get that guy? No, I mean, that's the same thing.
Then pay him $230 million all guaranteed.
Exactly. Not only that, the guy hadn't played a game in however long it's been.
Yep.
So I think it's not, everybody's like, oh, Deshaun Watson is a great athlete, which he is, but he's got all this other stuff going on right now. I think they overdid it, and I don't really think that there's going to be a whole lot of success there.
Jacob, go
I'll
ahead.
be honest. I'm gonna throw something in there. There's a chance that Deshaun Watson is suspended for 8 games this year.
Yeah,
to
that's
be
crazy.
honest,
or a full
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
right?
So
league-
The
he's already
expectations are way
he's
too high
already
right
not
now.
played a year because he sat out last year. Then he could get, his deal is structured where this year he's only guaranteed $1 million. They are
Yeah.
expecting him to get suspended.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
See, I did not know that.
Yeah, the rest of his
Oh, he-
contract for this year is all stipulations and stuff.
He will be suspended. It may be 4 games. It may be a season. We don't know.
So-
But he will
so
be.
it-
Suspended.
let's say he's suspended for a season. That would be 2 whole years in his mid to late 20s, the literal prime of his career with no football. Are you comfortable with that? I wouldn't. I wouldn't be.
I think he'll
That's
be fine.
crazy.
I think it may have some ring rust when he starts out, but I think he'll be fine. He's Deshaun Watson. He's one of the best QBs in the world. It will be interesting if he does
Okay.
get suspended. If they keep Baker and make Baker play a year as a penalty.
That's what I was gonna
And-
say.
Yeah.
What if
Can
they
you
keep
enlighten me?
Baker?
Can you enlighten me here? People are talking about Deshaun as if he's Aaron Rodgers,
And
Tom Brady,
he's
Pat
a top
Mahomes.
5 QB in the league.
I don't ever remember thinking, you know what, that Deshaun Watson down there in Houston, yeah, he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I never remember him being that.
You
I
not
feel
remember
like
they were up 24-0 on the Chiefs in the first quarter in the AFC champ. Was it AFC championship game?
no, he
No, it
never
was
made the
before
AFC championship.
It was the
Is it divisional?
It was
Yeah.
divisional.
I think this is a
And that's
situation
wild card
where
weekend to beat the Bills.
this is a situation where absence has made the heart grow fonder because
I don't
he
know.
has been gone, and now people think, you know what, that Deshaun boy, he sure can play some football.
He's
And
good.
I mean, he's a good quarterback. Is he? I mean, his contract what? It's the most guaranteed to any quarterback by 50, 60 million dollars. There's no way he's that. There's just no. I refuse to
telling you.
believe. Now, if you're the
Well-
Browns, I get it because they're a really good quarterback away from being the real deal, and he's a really good quarterback, but he's not that. I mean, come on. Like people
Well,
talk
here-
about him like he's Aaron Rodgers and he's just going to come back and be the stud after a year and a half of no football. And I don't think he's shown us enough where we could just give him the benefit of the doubt like that.
Well, you know what's funny is, so I watch The Herd daily.
We know.
I love The Herd.
Ah, this
I
is
love
The Herd.
We're
This is
back
The
on
Herd.
a Tuesday. I love The Herd. And one thing Colin Cowherd always says about Cleveland, and I think it's very true, is Colin Cowherd, he always says Cleveland has low sports self-esteem. You know, they're willing to just give everything up for a handful of wins because they have low sports self-esteem. You know, LA would not have given Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed. Green Bay probably wouldn't have given him $230 guaranteed. The Giants wouldn't have given him $230 guaranteed. You know, places that have won, that have high sports self-esteem, that require a lot. Granted, do I think Deshaun Watson is a great player? Yes. His last year of playing, 2020, he threw for 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 7 picks
It was
the
insane.
whole season.
That team was
which
just
is
horrible.
And that's on the 2020 Houston Texans, which, if I remember correctly,
They won 5 games.
was the first year without DeAndre Hopkins.
It was.
Yeah, so he did all that with no DeAndre Hopkins on the team. So is he a great quarterback? Yes. But I think Cleveland is desperate to make something of this team that they have. Because, you know, back in the day, the team that made me love the NBA was the 2010-2011 Chicago Bulls, D. Rose, Jimmy Butler,
Rose,
Luol
baby.
Deng, Carlos Boozer, Joakim Noah. And I stand with Joakim Noah when he said, "What's so cool about Cleveland? You ever heard anyone say I'm going to Cleveland on vacation?"
That was the best.
No.
best of
He's
all
like, and
time.
he asked the reporters, you think Cleveland's cool? You think Cleveland is cool?
I forgot all about
And
that.
I got his back. I think if you're Cleveland, you got to say, "Hey, Deshaun, Cleveland sucks, but $230 million is pretty cool. So here you go. We'll split the difference." I think that's what they had to do to get Deshaun Watson to go from H-Town to Cleveland, Ohio.
That's a good point. And man,
You think Cleveland's cool?
If Cleveland's cool, that's one of the best interviews of all time.
Did they win that series after you said that?
No, they lost. They never beat.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
Cleveland. That was a series where D Rose. No, the Cleveland series where D Rose hit the bank three was several years later.
Yes.
That was wild too.
Oh,
You want to talk?
beautiful.
You want to talk about another team that found a way to break my heart in dramatic fashion?
Bulls.
It was the D Rose High Point Bulls back when they should have won the East Conference every year and lost.
They had some clubs back then.
Man,
Ronnie James.
But I'm telling you, I'm right there with Joakim Noah. I've never heard anyone say, "Hey, I'm going to Cleveland on vacation."
Me neither, to be completely fair. So there's been a lot of moves in the NFL also, along with the Deshaun Watson news. We talked about Russell Wilson on the last pod. Devontae Adams is now a Raider.
Oh, that's a great move for him.
Man, talk about that division.
That surprised me.
He is going to love partnering up with Derek Carr
here we
instead of
go.
Aaron Rodgers.
Top five
Let me
people.
tell you.
Wait a minute.
He's
Wait a
going to
minute.
love it.
Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr. He's going to throw up.
Oh, no.
Of all the takes that have come from your mouth, that's the worst.
He's going to love
And
Derek
that's
Carr.
saying something.
Hey.
Playing his
Y'all
entire
are confusing.
career.
I know that you're taking in what I'm saying. I'm not saying Derek Carr's a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. He might be 60% of what Aaron Rodgers is.
Okay.
But I'm saying I think Devontae Adams is going to find out that he likes playing in that culture, having Derek Carr, the great guy that he is outside of football.
Oh, that's
having
right. You hate Aaron Rodgers as a person. I forgot about that.
Aaron Rodgers is an awful human being.
He just went Devontae Adams just went from a Lamborghini as his quarterback to the Smurf as his vehicle. A
Ford Fusion
Ford with rolly windows is what he.
You guys are so disrespectful to Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is the worst QB in that division. It's not even close.
Yeah, okay, but that's
in that division. It's Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Justin Herbert.
Exactly my point. He is playing.
That's like saying if you sat me down at a table with Dustin Johnson, Tiger Woods, and Rory, I'd be the worst golfer there.
But that's my point. He's going to the worst team with the worst QB in that division. They're never going to win any. They're never going to make the playoffs in that division ever.
I think you'll be surprised.
No shot in hell they're making the playoffs.
We'll see.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
There's 11 other games outside of divisional play that they can go win.
And they'll go 500 in those, and they'll go 7-10, and they'll miss the playoffs for the next 5 years. The Raiders are
Isn't Derek Carr
wait.
like termed like the QB killer or something like that, where he always beats these teams that are supposed to kill him?
He's been beating many of them. He's only made the playoffs once.
And it was last year. He's on the
Don't
cover.
have it, Cam.
By the Bengals. But
Joe Burrow also made the Super Bowl.
I was stunned by the Devontae Adams move because I thought with Aaron Rodgers coming back, he knew Devontae Adams was going to be his wide receiver.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I'd live in Vegas for a lot less than $135 million.
You're not nothing there. You got to do the same thing, pal.
If you lived in Vegas, it would be a lot less than 135 million.
Correct.
I'd do it for a cheeseburger.
They're not looking for 5'11" white guys to play receiver for the Raiders anytime soon, unless your name's Hunter Renfro.
Cole Beasley.
Hey,
Is he with the Raiders now?
No. You just named 5'11" white receivers. Cole Beasley's one of those guys. So, Cut, I want to ask you this.
My vertical might be 19 inches, so there's a big difference.
maybe 19 inches.
Maybe 19.
So back on track here, Cut. I want to ask you this: what do the Packers do now, stemming from this move? Who is Aaron Rodgers going to throw the ball to? He's going to be throwing the ball to Jeffrey and Jacob all year.
Yeah,
I hope Aaron.
I mean, yeah.
I hope the Packers go 5-12.
Well, you're good. I think, yeah, like you were saying, Aaron Rodgers is probably like, what's going on? Like, that was probably my main reason of coming back. And he's one of the best, if not the best in the league. I thought great addition, good for the Raiders, especially with how tough it just got with them. They needed somebody, so that was good by them to go in to get him. But yeah, I mean, right now you're looking at Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Valdez Scantling. That's a problem, a major problem. So yeah, I don't know. I don't honestly, off the top of my head, I don't really know who's left at wide receiver in free agency, but it ain't enough. That's for sure. So I don't know if AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are going to carry them this whole next year. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers still put the ball wherever he wants it, but I mean, I mean, how much did they rely on just throw it to 17 last year?
A lot.
That just went out the window. So, I mean, yeah, Randall Cobb, Scantling, Alan Lazard, and Robert Tanyan, that ain't going to cut it.
Well,
So,
you got to think. Go ahead, Could. My bad.
Oh no, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know who they got left out there, but they better get on the phone because everyone's about to be gone.
Yeah. Well, you got to think a lot of this is on Rodgers' shoulders, right? I mean, two main reasons, in my opinion. One, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're going to go back to Green Bay after making this big of a stink about everything, you better know that Devontae is going to get a deal done. Like if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm on the phone with Devontae Adams saying, "Hey man, we're good, right? Like we're good going back to Green Bay. I'm not going unless you're going. We're good, right?
Yeah.
Cool, good. We're there." Second, let's say he's not for whatever reason they're not keeping in contact. He took forever to get this deal done. So not only did he not get a deal done early to where Green Bay could then focus on Devontae before free agency or whatever, then now he's in a situation and there are no receivers left. They've all been traded or signed. I mean, think about how nice it would have been. Okay, Devontae's gone. Let's trade with Dallas for Amari Cooper. He's already been traded. You know, that's I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers likes to complain, and I know y'all like Aaron Rodgers a lot more than I do, except for Yeager. But I mean, this is. I look at this and think that
for him, Green Bay got a couple picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, a first and a second. Are you kidding me?
The best
Yeah.
in the world. That's bad.
And
My
Green Bay
gosh.
never drafts wide receivers.
No, they dropped the ball with that trade big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and yeah, it's on Green Bay, but I mean, I put the blame mostly on Rodgers for this situation.
Yeah,
Well,
that's it. I mean,
he took up all that money.
yeah, he took up a big piece of the pie there, and there wasn't much left for Devontae Adams, who's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I want to get paid too."
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. If he starts complaining about how they don't have anybody around him, I don't want to hear it. I'm done with it.
That
agree.
Man, I said it a couple podcasts ago, but I said Aaron Rodgers, man, he's a team narcissist. Like he has to be in the limelight. Like it doesn't surprise me at all that he took 153 guaranteed 200 million 4 years from Green Bay. But I think Cud makes a really good point. Aaron Rodgers, you know, and Devontae Adams, they were supposed to be the duo. And to Cud's point, the reciprocal of that was always there. It was always Devontae coming out publicly and being like, "I'm going where Aaron goes."
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? You know, you never heard Aaron Rodgers say, "Hey, you know what? I'm sticking by Devontae's side." It was always Devontae saying that about Aaron. And so, honestly, you saw it. I don't know. Look, I'm not one to know what's going on behind the scenes, but I know Tom Brady reconstructed his deal with the Buccaneers so a bunch of other guys could get more money and they could bring everyone back. And Devontae Adams watched Aaron Rodgers walk away with the bank in Green Bay before the best receiver in football got another long-term deal. So I hope Devontae Adams woke up and was like, "I'm sick of this," you know? And so I that's what I'm saying. I think Devontae's going to like playing in Vegas. You know what else is in Vegas? The sun. It's warm. I think he's going to enjoy. I think he's going to enjoy having a playoff game where it's not -15.
Also a good point. So, you mentioned Tom Brady. I wanted to touch on this real quick before I'll get to one last question. We saw Brady come out of retirement a couple weeks ago. Look at the division he's playing in. He's going to have to play 6 times. Sam Darnold twice. Marcus Mariota twice.
Mm.
And now my man, famous Jameis, twice. No wonder
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold for the Panthers.
Yeah, that's 6 wins.
I thought he got moved.
He's still in Carolina. Now they may draft a guy
For now.
But I mean, no wonder Tom Brady came back. And who's scaring you in the NFC? Seattle's terrible. The Niners are moving off Jimmy G. Who knows what they're going to do?
Yeah.
The Packers
It's
just got
literally-
neutered.
You got the
It's
Rams.
the Bucks and the Rams.
The NFC East is garbage. The Vikings are going nowhere. The Bears and Lions are terrible. It's literally the Bucks and the Rams in the NFC.
Hey,
Go
I'll tell you
Cowboys.
what though, this is the Cowboys'
Wow.
year.
No
With
way.
the weak NFC, this is
Put
the
it in
Cowboys'
stone.
year.
Heaven have mercy. Good
Hey,
gosh.
if I keep saying it,
You're
and
doing
it
this
finally
on
happens,
purpose.
if I keep saying that and it finally happens, and I can rub it in Jaeger's face about how smart I am.
Hey,
I got
I'm
it
not
right.
I'm not 0 for 19 on going out in the second round like everyone else has been for the last 26 years with the Cowboys.
Hey, man,
Cowboys
we haven't even made it to the second round, but I appreciate it.
All right, so final NFL thoughts. Matt Ryan wins.
Hey, but Dez caught it. Dez
Dez.
caught it.
That's
Dang
true.
right, he caught it.
Diego, I want to get your take on this, and then we'll wrap it up. Matt Ryan.
Me or Jacob?
I'll go you, Jeff, first, and then Jacob can
Okay.
jump in. So Matt Ryan is now with the Colts. The Falcons got like a 3rd-round pick and had to eat that cap. Obviously, they're wanting to rebuild, but my good God, I feel like you could have got something a little bit more for your franchise QB, one of your best players in franchise history. He's won an MVP. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm not
Nope.
going to say that this time. He's probably not even a Hall of Famer.
Nope.
But he's a Falcons legend, by God.
He's a good quarterback.
He's a good quarterback. And you wait this long, and then you just give him to the Colts pretty much for free. So 2 questions for you, Yeg. 1, what the hell are the Falcons doing? And 2, are the Colts now in the AFC mix of all these insanely good football teams? Because the Colts have a great roster. They just didn't have a quarterback. You had the worst QB in the league, Carson Wentz, last year as your quarterback.
Good
Screw you,
God.
man.
That
Oh,
guy
Carson
So,
Carson Wentz is not that bad.
horrible. That's not
Thank you.
that's not the point. I'm at Matt Ryan.
Look, here's what I think is happening is right now the Colts, are they in the AFC mix? I guess you could say yes, technically, based on the fact that they have Jonathan Taylor. I'm not going to say Matt Ryan makes a difference, but let me, I'll answer your question with a question. If Jonathan Taylor was to get traded tomorrow for just a B plus running back, are the Colts still in the mix?
No.
No. So it's not Matt Ryan that's the answer. Jonathan Taylor's got another 17 games of carrying that load for those boys. But I will tell you this, it does take a lot of stress off Matt Ryan's shoulders, the fact that he has a good old line now.
That's huge.
And you also need to remember Julio Jones just got released by the Titans.
He's going to go to the
And
Colts.
so I would not be surprised if he reunites with Matt Ryan. And they've been playing together for how long? Like, that's instant chemistry, instant connection. T.Y. Hilton is still there.
He's bad.
Wait, T.Y. Hilton still plays football?
Horrible.
Yeah, he's horrible.
But he's still there. Like he's still a good player. They're tight ends. Who is that?
Alley ball.
Jack Doyle.
Jack Doyle. That guy is a machine. Let me tell you, he does not get enough love because he doesn't really see a lot of targets, but he does not drop a lot of passes. Wasn't he the one that had like the crazy one-handed back the end zone touchdown catch last year? I can't remember. Anyway, I think if Julio goes there, then it makes a real difference. Because you remember when the Titans signed Julio Jones last year, their line to win their division shifted significantly. And granted, he didn't have the best season. He was hurt here and there. But if A.J. Brown is your second look, you got a pretty good receiving core, So I think if Julio Jones goes to the Colts, you got a great O-line. And by God, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he's the best running back in the NFL, and it's not even close.
And the Colts have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They needed a quarterback.
Yeah.
Not their guy. Is Matt Ryan elite? No. But he's going to be playing behind one of the best offensive lines in the league. And he was terrible in Atlanta last 2 years because he can't move. And he's also playing behind, and Atlanta had the worst offensive line in the league. So now you're putting him behind a brick wall, and Matt Ryan can still sling it. And you let him come back in there on a cheap deal, which he's not going to get any crazy money after as bad of a year he's had last year with his injuries.
No.
So I can definitely see Julio going up there. That's going to be interesting.
Absolutely.
And AFC, again, they just keep loading up. And NFC is bad. When the Dallas Cowboys are the 3rd best team in the conference, that's bad. NFC
That's very bad.
not good. So that'll close up NFL. I want to get one more thing, and then we got to run. So, Hunter, I'll give you the floor. U.S. soccer is back. We play Mexico on the road. Massive stretch of games coming up for our World Cup qualifying chance. So, Hunter, I'll give you the floor. You're the soccer man of the pod. Tell us why we're going to qualify for the World Cup and how big the game this is against Mexico this week.
Well, so I'm gonna kind of throw a little wet rag on that one. So I think I'm gonna ramble a bit. So just bear with me, okay? The game against Mexico is not that important, and I think that's what I want to try and get across here. Because even if we beat Mexico, we still have to beat Panama. Does that make sense? It's like the game against Panama on Sunday is the big one. So there, obviously, the coach hasn't said anything, but there's a lot of people talking about not playing a full strength team against Mexico to make sure everybody's healthy and doesn't get suspended. Tyler Adams, one of our most important players, he's on a yellow card, meaning if he gets a second or another yellow card, then he's suspended for the following game. So if we play him against Mexico, he gets a yellow. He doesn't get to play against Panama, and Panama is the one that matters. I looked at the statistics of it today. 4 points in this window is a 98% chance of us qualifying in third place. And it doesn't matter if that 4 points or if that draw comes against Mexico or Costa Rica. And even just 3 points, only the win against Panama likely gets us in. So of course we want to go to Mexico and win, but Panama is the big one. So don't be surprised if we don't put out a full strength roster, and if we don't get a result against Mexico, that's not the end of the world. Don't be thinking, oh no, U.S. soccer sucks. U.S. soccer sucks. That's not going to be the case. We're probably not going to get a result against Mexico, and that's maybe on purpose. Now, of course, once the lineup's released, Radagast will send out his tweet and say, hey, this is what I said was going to happen. We're not a full strength. Or I'll say, hey, this is full strength. This is a go. This is not a drill situation.
Quick
go ahead.
Yeah.
So what happens if we beat Mexico but then lose to Panama? Or are we done?
No. So we're not done. So the 3 games this window: at Mexico on Thursday night, at home against Panama on Sunday, and then at Costa Rica the following Wednesday. And I've said it before in this podcast, we have never even gotten a point at Costa Rica.
Ever. Do not play well against those.
No. Now, to be fair, this is the worst Costa Rica has been in decades. So if we're ever going to do it, this is the time. But we do not want to bank on that going into the last game of qualification. But the problem is, we saw how bad Honduras is last window, and Panama plays them at home the first game of this window. So on Thursday night. So Panama's going to beat Honduras. So even if we beat Mexico, Panama is still right on our heels. So if they beat us on Sunday night, then they're ahead of us in the standings and we're in trouble. Then we need some help.
All 3 of these games are in the same window, right? These are all coming up in the next week.
Yep. Yeah. Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday.
Wow.
So
wow.
After this.
What's that?
We're done after this.
Yes. Yeah. If we qualify in 4th place, then we move to a 1-game winner-take-all play-in game against the winner of the Oceania region, which will likely be New Zealand, and that'll be in June. So this will be the last we see of the national team for a few months.
Why don't we just beat all 3 for the next week? Why not us?
Why not us? Dang it!
Why not?
Yeah.
Us?
So the bad news, I'll kind of just give you a quick little injury update. So bad news is Weston McKennie is out for the season, meaning probably until about June with a broken foot.
World Cup, though.
Yeah, back for the World Cup. Serginho Dest is out for this window. He pulled a hammy last week for Barcelona, so that's a big time bummer. But Gio Reyna, who y'all know I'm very high on, he's back and healthy. He played full 90 minutes for Borussia Dortmund, his club in Germany, this past week, so he's good to go. I'd imagine he won't start against Mexico, and then he will start against Panama is what I would do if I were in charge. But unfortunately, we have Greg Berhalter in charge, and there's no telling what he'll do. So
Berhalter out.
Berhalter out. But I really think we'll get it done. My guess is we'll draw Mexico, beat Panama, and then who the heck cares after that, because we'll be qualified.
Man, I can't wait. This is our year.
Sunday night, Panama at home in Orlando.
What time's the Mexico game on Thursday?
10 Eastern.
Oh, you're not gonna make that full game, Bob. But you're
not gonna make it. I'm gonna be so juiced up after the game. I'm not going to sleep until 3.
We owned Mexico in 2021. Just throwing that out there. We dominated in 2021.
3-0.
Yep.
We did
Just-
not have. We will not have our full team, full strength, like you said. Not at all. We got guys banged up. Probably not going to play all of our big guys on Thursday, like you said. But
Mhm.
let's go beat them anyway. Why
Just,
not?
yeah, just temper the expectations. That's all. That's all I want to say.
Absolutely.
If we don't go out, if we lay an egg against Mexico,
3-0, we don't suck.
it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
it in the grand scheme of things, all we got to do is qualify. Doesn't matter how we do it. Doesn't matter who we beat. We know we're a good club. That's the thing. We're a good soccer team, and so it doesn't matter what we do against Mexico. That doesn't have any bearing on who we are as a team, which is good.
Well, the result would be nice though. If we could.
It'd be great. Don't get me wrong, but just trying to preemptively, temper the expectations.
All right. Any closing thoughts on this week's pod? We got March Madness revving right back up Thursday, Friday.
We are all peacocks.
Go Houston.
We are 3 things to close the pod. 1, I'm an idiot and Tennessee sucks. 2, Yeg was right about Auburn. And 3, we are a Peacocks pod.
Correct. I'm taking in the words of that USA coach, I'm selling my house and taking everything I own and putting it on the Peacocks to win.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening this week. We'll be back again next week with another March Madness recap pod. Take care, everybody.